Good morning, everyone. In the next session of lecture number 5, in the subject Transportation Policy and Strategic Planning. The core purpose of this subject is to understand from those design and set parameters, and also to understand the purpose of policy and planning, okay? And also to design and formulate the national transport policy for your country. So first of all, we need to understand that what is the importance or the purpose or why do we need to design the transportation policy. So the goal of transportation policy is to make effective decision which concern the allocation of all available resources. Okay, so first of all, we need to see that what is basically exist within the country. Okay, so exist infrastructure and exist transport infra. Where do we need to build more and what we need to focus on for the future? So transportation policy concern it's effective in terms of the implementation. So transportation policy mainly connect with the public, private stakeholder of the any organization or within any country. Okay. So in that subject, we will try to understand and we will repeat the two terms again and again. One is policy and another one is planning. OK, policy deals with the develop or to develop the set of constructions or construct in proposition that are established to achieve. OK, so that part is basically related to vision and mission, and we will also try to focus on social, economic, and environmental conditions, which are related directly or indirectly in the function in performance of the transportation. But when we try to understand the term planning, so planning basically deals with the preparation and implementation of that vision and mission. Okay. So that is basically set of instruction, and the planning is basically the implementation stage where we are trying to design or deal with the preparation and implementation of action where we want to address or achieve any objective, any vision or any mission. So I'm quite sure if you stay tuned in that session, every participant will be able to design the state policy, and also he or she will be able to plan it as well. First of all, we need to understand that what is the current state of the transportation within the country. So transportation is the key driver of the socio-economic development. So through transportation, we allow people to access where from their origin to the jobs, to the educational institution, health sector, and even it's the kind of a economic wheel driven. تاسو ته به usual پکاري کدوا نه ترا په شک نه څنګه نه راکړه هیڅ نه په خپل واغې سره ها دا به جوړو درسه صحیح دی ټیک ده او بل یو زه یو لیټر جوړوم کنه ډیزاین کوم فارمولیټ کوم چې ستا خپل د ایجوکیشنل ډاکومنت پرپس د پاره وي چې ډاکټر فدا دا شی ارینج کړو او د کې دومره سټوډنټانو او د پاکستان انجینرینګ کونسل د کیپاسټي او شارټ بلډینګ کورس پرپس صحیح هغه ته بیا فارور ځان ته مطلب کېش کوي شي بیا ٹھیک دا ریسورس پرسن چې کوم دی کنه لکه موږ انجینران ته سر سالور کریډ اور پکاوي په کال کې دا چې یو کوم ایونت موږ به اوس کوو کنه فل ډے اکټیویټي that will be equal to 1 credit hour صحیح نو ته چې کله ریسورس کې راشي کنه دا equal to 8 credit hour صحیح دا ډېر غټ وټای دی نو زه دا وایم چې دا ته بیا سبا کېش کوي شي سر یو ارز وکړه سرطان یو ارز دی ما ته ایگزیکټ ټایټل راولې ځکه چې دلته به پکار وي کنه دلته به پکار وي ټیک ته او سر دلته کې چې کوم دی فار ایگزامپل فدا حسین ستا چې کوم خپل غلط ډیزیګنیشن دی مثلا او بل کم کس شي جوړوي ټیک ده سر تاسو راځي ورسې باندې ما راولې یا په ایمیل باندې چا څه ځکه چې دا به اوس غته بځی کنه پرنټینګ راځم سر غلطي ونه شي. So the transportation is the key driver through which we can access to different places, and we can also call that the economic wheel as well, because what will happen if the same wheel is stagnant? So we might not be able to move anywhere. So as I'm going to follow the Pakistan National Transport Policy for the year 2018. So I will just try to elaborate each and every session in the terms of the already mentioned vision and mission for the country. So if you try to understand that the government of Pakistan has invested a large amount in the human as well as the financial resources in order to develop the transportation sector within the country. So a lot of mega projects are actually knocking on the door of Pakistan in terms of China-Pakistan economic corridor, as well as we have the Central Asian Regional Economic Corporation is already in the pipeline as well. We have the mainline one, which is called ML1. We are also part of the BRI as well. So those are the mega projects which actually required for the country wheel, for the country transportation wheel to be dynamic. What will happen if the same wheel is stagnant? So we might not able to address or reach anywhere, okay? So mega projects are very much important, and that should be part of your transportation current state in order to understand the potential and where you need to work on. So Pakistan need a cohesive policy and planning framework, and this is the purpose of this session. If with the collaboration of the student input, if we can design the country policy for the year 2030 with while understanding the practices from all the developed country. Of course, we will try to address the bigger vision as well. Bigger vision should always be how we can build more transportation networks, how we can fulfill the people demand, how we can provide the multi-centric nuclei, how we can decentralize the any single network in order to provide more accessibility and mobility option to the people. Of course, governance of the principle and objective is also is the part of that specific policy. And of course, we will also formulate at the very broader level the collaborative process, which will based on all those mentioned indicators. So if you try to understand that what is the current context of the Pakistan, so Pakistan has a population around 23 million, and 76 of whom are actually live in the cities, okay, and the population growth rate is 2.4, while population by the year 2050 is expected to increase by 50%, and Pakistan travel nearly 400 billion passenger per kilometer, while till 2030 it predict that it might reach to 1 billion per kilometer by 2030, so within the span of a 6 year. Keep in mind one thing, population growth rate, the people percentage who is living in the urban areas, the people percentage who is living in the remote areas within urbanization, within city, how much is the per capita travel mobility, or he or she have the requirement to travel. That should you have a very clear picture of that. Because if we do not have the very clear picture, we might not be able to, because look, it's a very simple example. If you don't know, if we are trying to plan for the year 2030 or like 2050, and we don't know that how much population will be, like for example, approximately, okay, and what is the growth rate, what will be the GDP, What will be the income per capita? One of my student, she is currently working on a project that how much GDP or the country economy or the per capita income is uh, relevant or which provide the kind of a option to the people to move. So this is now one of the project which is under my supervision. So now we are trying to understand that how the GDP, economy, and transportation contribute to the jobs. So Pakistani economy has recorded a steady growth, but job creation and investment is kind of an ongoing challenge. Okay, the GDP, the domestic product, was recorded in the year 2016 and 17 for about 5.3%, while in the year 2019 about 5.8%. So you need to understand that our GDP is quite kind of a stagnant. We actually need such type of a long and short-term policy which can really expedite that GDP that GDP by the year 2040, and that part could also be done through the transportation as well. So if we look to the transportation, it contribute 22.3% to the country economy. Okay, which is approximately 6% of the nation total employment. But if we look to the that what kind of challenges we might face, so you can see here we are still our GDP is still in the single digit, so which is kind of really alarming situation after the independence of 76 year, and we need to plan and required for such type of a planning which can facilitate 2.5 million people to provide at least the jobs. International investment more and more is basically required as kind of a nowadays one of the mega project in India where they are still working on that. So they are planning to collect round about 5.7 billion Indian rupees only from the toll, okay, by the year 2030. So you can imagine. So I think it's $3.7 billion, okay, $1 billion. So you can imagine. And we need the public-private partnership, and we also need these P2 and P3 type of a project where we can involve private investor, because if the country do not have money, either you need to borrow it from the people from like different organization, or you need to give it the access to the people so that they can build the infrastructure. If we try to understand the Pakistan geography uh, and development, which lead to the four level of transportation flows. So, but before that, before to go in the detail, so till the 1985 or maybe 90s, for about 90% plus freight and transportation requirement were fulfilled through railways, and very less part was dedicated to the road. But now we have situation is a bit change. So in the year 2023, railway contribute for about 3%, while road contribute for about 90%, while the rest 7% is through waterways and air. So if you look in the last 2.5 decades, the element of the road actually merged in a very fast and rapid way. So we are going completely in the reverse direction. That doesn't mean that road is bad. The expansion of road is also part of the transportation, but we all kind of always need to look for the most cost-effective, sustainable source, as well as where we can save money and we can move the bulk of the people at once. Okay. If we try to understand that what we don't have, so we still don't have the lack of modern integration services is actually needed. We don't have the logistics industry, so which can provide the cost effective in the integrated modern kind of a service which could fulfill the people real demand according to the latest World Bank reference. So we are 68 out of 160 countries, which are still it very much average situation, as you can imagine, and very big issue. We have the a very limited level of crossing or the open trade international policy with Afghanistan, with India, with Iran, and China. With China, we are doing it a bit, but through road. So we have a complete closure with India, with Iran and Afghanistan. I would like to instruct all my student or whoever is listening this that specific lecture. Keep in mind one thing: as a transportation planner and developer, you should have a very broader vision and mission. So if your mindset is a confined, if you plan within the framework, so you might not be able to plan or develop something for the which can really bring the revolution within the country. Your ideas should be quite broader. That should also lies across that specific confinement, that specific border, that specific mindset. Keep in mind, we have a very huge business we can develop with Afghanistan, and through Afghanistan, we can even reach to the Central Asia, through which we can connect with the Russia. If we try to understand the potential of India, so we can also get a lot of trade between India and Pakistan, which were part before of the independence for 7 to 9 according to my knowledge. We had the intersecting point with India, but in 76 year we closed all of them. The same with Iran, so is a very big hub of the cost effective product of the oil of each and everything, but still we have a kind of closure always with Iran as well. So you need to understand Pakistan is already suffering and have a lot of issues. And if we still have that specific mindset through which we are not kind of able to move out from that mindset, the situation might get worsened with the passage of time. And if we try to understand the condition of the road, so it's again poor. And if we try to understand Pakistan Railways, so Pakistan Railways has a always significant role network, but has not been successful in the kind of a capitalizing its role to play its part as a integrated player, integrated transportation plan kind of a player and the total railway network we have in the country is about 7,800 kilometer, and we have the rail share for about 2%, as I already mentioned, for the passenger and 5% for the freight. Okay, so you can see we have already a lot of vacuum to fill. And if we try to understand the transportation condition in Pakistan, the aviation sector is slowly growing, but there are a lot of challenges in terms of ability of airport to address the security concerns and also meet the global supply standards. So a lot of aircraft like British Airways and Air France and Emirates airline must they sometimes suspend their services from Pakistan, and sometimes they come to Pakistan because still we have a lot of issues. So we have the hinterland, but that hinterland is not connected with any if you take, for example of a Port Qasim and Gwadar, so through that specific part, we can reach to the Middle East very easily. But that hinterland have not been utilized so far, and I wish that with the smart brain, we might be able to kind of fill that part and get from that confined mentality. And if we try to understand that what are the inland waterways operation, so there is a large untapped potential for the inland waterways. Pakistan has the in elaborate canal system and several rivers, while the inland waterways transport can therefore be valuable addition to the transportation of any rural or any industrial freight. So we have very much amazing situation between Atak, Daud Khail, Port Qasim, and so on, but still those options have not been utilized. And if you try to understand the concept of the pipeline, which is one of the important element of the transportation, so pipeline are also an efficient and cost-effective means of transporting natural gas and oil, through which we supply the refinery system, oil system, and it's also contributed for about 37% in the country through different sources from within, of course, from different sources. If you try to understand the environmental degradation is also very much concern. Nearly almost 60 to 80,000 people die each year from the air pollution related diseases within the country, according to World Health Organization statistic and published in 2016. And very much important indicator, we have the restricted mobility option as well for the women, and which is kind of a main barrier for the women to access the key services. So arranging transport is also considered a problem for about 40% of the women, according to the Asian Development Statistic published in 2015. Okay, so women have usually rely on the kind of extended family members, neighbors, or even their own public transport, so which lead the women to have limited access to economic opportunity, healthcare, and education as well. So if you try to understand the classification subsector, so first of all, we have, of course, road transport, railway, air transport, water transport, pipeline, inland, and urban. So in approaching the transportation sector, it can be classified in according to its end user, domain, and operations. So each aspect need to be considered to improve the performance of the sector as a whole. So at the level of the policy, so we should focus on those subsector which should be part of your specific vision part, that how we can include the national policy at the federal, at the province level, at the district level, in your each and every project. If it's moving in those aid domain, so that should be part of that country vision, that national transport policy. And within, so that should be at the federal level, and mission should be at the province level. And then we can derive the KPIs within each district, within each province, okay? And then we can divide it in the short term and long term policy, okay? But each and every project should be aligned with that vision and with that mission. So if you try to understand that who are the users, what are the modes, what are the attributes, what are the domains. So those are the important dimension of the transportation sector. So in terms of passenger transport, private motorization, private non-motorized transport, which we also call the NMT category, could be in the cycle, rickshaw, or which we call tricycle as well, scatter, bladders, and pedestrian. And similarly for the public, and then freight transportation operator, drivers, and owners. And if we try to understand the domains, so first of all, we should start from the rural areas, and then urban, and then inter-urban area, and then how we can connect the system which is connected at the international level. And its best example is European Union. So all those 23 to 25 countries, they don't have any border, and they have the open trade policy each and everywhere. So we need to address or come up with such type of a innovative design. And if you try to understand the attributes, of course, infrastructure is part of that, operation, regulation, technology, finances, and institution. But if you try to understand modes, so we already address all those modes. So mode or transportation doesn't mean road. It doesn't mean only railways. It doesn't mean only aviation. It doesn't mean only ports, ship. It means the whole system. So when we merge all of them together, so that is the transportation management. Okay, so that how we can integrate those users, those domains, attributes, and modes together in order to formulate the country vision and as well as the country national transport policy. Stay tuned for more sessions. If you have any question, you can get back in the comment section. Thank you very much.